Hello and welcome back. I'm B-Ball Joe and this is a tutorial for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. Today, I will show you everything you need to know about advanced setup and advanced loading in trains and trucks so that you can set up your own mainline, just like this one, with consist, just everything. Everything on the train, and you can just transport it and it's all working. Hey guys, so with the new update, advanced setup exists, which is just advanced loading for trucks and for trains, just like this one. It will show you whatever you want to see, and it gives you an overview of everything that the wagon could load if it would only load one thing. What does that mean? A wagon has 100% capacity, makes sense. But each cargo has a different volume at that weight. Or, sorry, has a different volume at that wagon size. Makes also sense. So you can load 100% of crops, that's 55 tons of crops, or 100% of fabric, which is 48 tons of fabric. Why do I talk about percentages? Well, suppose a truck. There are these buttons up here that let you do everything you want to do. There's -10%, +10%, forbid this resource, carry only this resource, and resource settings. Reset resource settings. All of that, great. Sounds good. Well, let's get started. You can load 100%, but the game does not keep track of how many percent you have currently loaded. So, what I recommend you do is go to your wagon that you want to set, say, carry only this resource, that unsets everything else, then say, forbid this resource, and now everything is set to 0. So the wagon won't load anything at this point. That's fine. Then you go and say, I want to get 10% of crops. Whatever you select, this icon will be highlighted a little bit. So 10, 20, 30, 40, I'm saying percentages here, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I think we went 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. Now I have loaded exactly 100%, but you have to keep track of that. If you want, like if you would set this, it wouldn't complain. It will totally let you do that, but it will then load the wagon just in a different way than what you expect. It depends on the loading speed of each cargo and how much volume can go in. So you won't get exactly what you set up. So you need to keep track of your own percentages, which is 100%. Then let the guy go. And once he is at the loading station, in this case a cargo house, it load exactly what you told it to load. 5.5 tons of crops, so. And now it's 100% full. Cool. That's pretty simple. And you have to apply that, or you can apply that to another train too. The problem is if you have consist train that's really long, you have to set it for every single wagon, which is a little tedious, but it's doable, it's manageable. Depends how long you have the train set up. And if the train is really important, I think it's totally worth it. The only problem that I have right now, and the developers are working on that, is copying a schedule. Let's go to this guy. This is an exact copy of the train that we have. Let's just erase them from the line so there's nothing on here. And look at the advanced setup. The advanced setup of this train over here is what we just set up. It's this. And this is the other one. Now, if you copy from this train to this train, it copies all of the schedule, but it does not currently copy the advanced setup. They are working on this, but right now that's not the case. Be aware of that when you set up your lines. Just pretty simple. And everything else for a train is pretty straightforward, and I will explain the rest on trucks. Trucks. This truck I've set up, let's send them to the border. I've set up to load 50% food and 50% clothing. It's percentages. Don't worry too much about the 3.2 versus 3.3 tons. It's just a number game in the code. It's fine. But when he goes to the border, let's just discard everything. When he goes to the border, I set him up to load 100%, and I only wanted to load food and clothes. Cool. They're 50% each. Great. So he goes to the border, does what I told him to do, and now he's good to go. Great. That's the same thing as on the train earlier. Now, I told him to go to the warehouse, and at the warehouse, I'm doing something different. Where is it? There's my warehouse. Unload. At the warehouse, I want you to unload 100% of your food. Now, this is a little weird. Why is that weird? Because this 100% applies to the whole wagon, not to the whole amount of cargo that you have in the wagon of that thing. Which means it will unload 3.3 tons of food, but it has nothing to do with the 100% here. How can I prove that? Well, let's do this. I set it to 50% unloading, and now I tell it to unload clothes and food. Then I will send him back to the warehouse because he still has, well, actually, it's not going to work. Never mind that. I will send him to the actual loading house, customs house, this one. Okay, go. All right, we have a slightly different setup. I only load now 40% of food and 60% of clothing, so that was changed. And I will tell him to unload 50% of food and clothes at the warehouse. Let's see what he does. It's unloading. And this is not right. It didn't just unload half of the food, because half of the food is 1.3 tons. It unloaded a total of half of the volume of the wagon, regardless of what it had loaded on that wagon. So be aware of this number representing the whole wagon, not the current load of products that you have. And that's really it. I don't think they're going to change this one. It's a little weird, but you can play with it. The only problem is when you have multiple stopped, not just one, this will be weird. And also if you have multiple consists loaded. If you only load one thing per vehicle, then you won't have a problem, but that's the old setting. That's the old before advanced setup. So I hope I helped you a little bit. That's how it is right now. You can use advanced setup. It works. It's helpful, especially for delivering to a shop. You can now just use one wagon and load it up with food, clothes, and electronics all at the same time, and you don't have to worry about everything. Maybe that's helpful, maybe that's not, but I like it overall. But there are a couple fixes coming. I hope I helped someone. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.